Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Family Table Talk. I'm Ivan.
And I'm Stephanie.
And today we are going to talk about our plan to have as many children as possible to get our own reality TV show.
No.
Anyway, so actually we're going to talk about family planning. We never really had a conversation about the family planning part before we got married. We did kind of have conversations about how many kids we wanted, but we never actually talked about things like prevention, spacing of, between each kid. It wasn't until after we got married that we actually talked about sex in general.
Yeah.
So anyway, we initially had decided that we were just going to leave it up to the Lord on kids and how many kids we were going to have. From the get-go, we decided to not use any form of birth control or protection. Setting aside any religious beliefs, that's just something that we decided for ourselves. We would be responsible with family planning because we kind of wanted to keep our kids about 2 years apart.
Yeah.
And we've pretty much done that, just within a couple of months. Because between Robert and Lucy, there's 20 months. Mm-hmm. Between Lucy and this new baby, it'd be 22 months. So it's almost within that 2-year range. But after we had Robert, we decided between 4 and 6 kids. Mm-hmm. Now, why between 4 and 6?
Because we did not want an odd number.
No, I hate odd numbers. So we couldn't have 3 kids, and we couldn't have 5 kids. Now, she comes from a family of 4, and I come from a family of 6. So it's either 4 or 6. I know that might be like a stupid reasoning to go with how many kids we want. Now, and a lot of people don't think Christians should do that. Put a limit on how many kids you want. Now, we are planning for 4 children. That is within our plan. After that, we are not going to consciously plan for any more. Now, that's not to say we are closed off to the idea of having more children. Mm-hmm. And this is another concept that I think, just from spiritual maturity and growing as a couple, and something that a lot of people don't like to talk about either, is that it is her body, in the sense that she's the one that carries the children. So she knows what she can handle. And I've let her kind of control when we start trying to have kids. And we've always said it, this is what she kind of said, is we wait till our youngest turns 1, and then we start trying for another. And within 3 months, that other one has been on the way. But that's something that I think that, since she knows her body, and she knows her inner workings better than I do and what she can handle, I've kind of given a little bit of control over to her. And again, that's not for saying that's how every couple has to do it. That's just something that we've decided to do in our marriage, and it's worked. So what are your thoughts on family planning?
I don't know.
So you can tell that even though I'm more of the person that has a sense of humor, the person that seems to be a little more laid back, I'm the one that typically has the plan, which is fine, being the husband and everything.
Except I kind of didn't tell him we were trying for a child with Robert.
Yeah, because Robert was
tracking everything, and
Robert was born 6 days before our 1-year anniversary, and I was still in Bible college full-time, working full-time in ministry, pretty much full-time with everything that I was doing at the college and the church. And then, lo and behold, 3 months after we're married, barely 3 months, she comes down to, it was on a Saturday, I was between classes and ministry, and she comes down. I mean, I've seen her, all dolled up with the makeup and fancy clothes on, but she was like, hair all spiffy, makeup all done, and you can tell she'd been crying because her eyes were a little puffy, no matter how much. I mean, this was gooped on makeup. It was still very pretty, but I'd never seen her with that much makeup on. That's my memory of it. and she tells me that we're expecting. So I was completely freaked out. I mean, I was excited, but here I am, like, I'm just barely getting used to being married, and now we have 9 months before we have another human being that we're responsible for. And again, that's not for everybody. I know people have a plan of, waiting 2 or 3 years after they get married, which that is completely fine.
Yep.
We have no problem with that. And we may do a video later on about the pros and cons of different forms of birth control and contraceptives, but that's not this video. This is about family planning. So yeah, pretty much that's what we've done so far in our marriage. Like I said, we are consciously planning for 4 kids. And we're on number 3. And we're gonna wait till little Debbie is 1, and then we'll start trying for number 4. And then after that, we aren't gonna try anymore. And like I said, if the Lord wants to give us more, then He will equip us financially, emotionally, spiritually to handle kids after that. So that's family planning. Any other thoughts before we get into baby names?
I don't think so.
So I don't think we ever had a conversation before we got married about baby names.
No.
It wasn't until we actually found out we were pregnant with Robert that we actually started talking about family names.
Yep.
And I'm a junior, so of course I wanted to name my first son after me, also being named after my dad. We won't tell you why we decided not to go that route in regards to my name. That's another video that we're in the process of making. So tell the story of how we came to Robert's name.
Well, he is named after my grandfather, and
On your mom's side.
on my mom's side, and my grandpa didn't have any boys in his line, so it was just my mom and my aunt. So his line dies out after him. He was a lonely child, and there's no other relatives that will carry on his last name. So I wanted a child fully named after him, except for the last name. So that's how we came up with Robert Allen.
Robert Allen. And he's named after the Sergeant Major Robert Allen Brown. And then after that, we kind of picked out twin names. We went through this phase of where we wanted twins. When we found out that we were having a boy for the first one, Robert Allen was set. And up until he was born, I was always a little iffy about it, but when he was born, I'm like, this is Robert Allen. Like, the name just fit him. But for some reason, we came up with all these different twin names. Boy, girl, boy, boy, girl, girl.
No, we never came up with 2 girls.
Right, because we kind of wanted to keep the first name and the middle name initials the same. And so we didn't come up with girl names for twins, but we came up with some really cute twin names. So then when Lucy came along, we had decided on Nora Elizabeth.
Nora Elizabeth. Yep.
But we had also been talking about, everybody in my family at least, they have something unique with all their kids' names. For example, my oldest brother, his 2 girls have 2 middle names. So that's something unique to his family. Then my second oldest brother, his 2 kids have the initials ANP. Then my third oldest brother, all of his kids have a Hispanic name, whether it's their first name or their middle name. Then my sister, all of her kids' names are kind of European, English, Scottish type of names because they're missionaries over in Scotland. So I thought, why don't we do something unique for our kids' names? And we went with family names. So all of our kids that we have will be named after somebody in the family. So we already had Robert Allen. And so we were trying to think of a girl's name. We went through so many different ones. And I had the thought that nobody was named after her mom, Beth. And her mom's name is Beth Ann, and we didn't want to take the Ann.
My sister has a middle name.
Ann has already been used, also on my side of the family too. So we decided to use Beth as a middle name. And then I just thought of, and it was kind of in the strain of I Love Lucy, the TV show. I'm like, what about Lucille Beth? And I know I just thought about this, the initials LB, Lucille Ball. Anyway, so we came up with Lucille Beth, and we realized that Lucille is the name of my mom's maternal grandmother. And it turns out, on her side of the family as well, it was a grandmother's name. So when we found out that we had a Lucille common on both sides of our family, that's where we settled on Lucille. And when she was born, Lucille Beth all the way. And what's funny is she is a ham. So the name Lucy totally fits her. And then we have little Debbie coming, and her name is Deborah Naomi. And Deborah is after my mom. Her name is Deborah Elaine. Elaine has already been used with some of my siblings. So we decided to go with Deborah for my mom. And then Naomi is a grandmother on my dad's side. Her name was Naomi. So that's how we came up with our family names. And we actually have enough names picked out for 6 kids. If the Lord will bless us with that many, like we said, we're only planning for 4. And yes, if we have another boy after this, he will be Ivan Eugene Plemmons III. So yeah, that is how we have done our family planning when it comes to having kids, and how we chose our baby names. So, any final thoughts?
I don't think so.
So, if you guys like this video, please give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
Subscribe to our channel. We're slowly climbing up there with subscribers. Then hit the little bell next to the subscribe button to get notified whenever we post a new video. And then comment below on maybe baby names that you have picked out, or maybe strange stories behind your family names, or names that you've picked out for your kids. Or if your kids have odd baby names, we would love to hear about those too. But anyway, we will see you guys in the next video. God bless.
Bye.